Okay, so in the previous video we have completed this login and register forms. So now I would like to show you that how to implement the validation features and the registration features inside this login form registration form. So let's go to our hierarchy and go to the users controller and close others. Okay, so now I'm going to create the entire registration method. So initially I will just cut this one. Okay, right. So go to your registration form and we need to call this register method. So in the action php echo url root and users, then register. So whenever form is submitted, the registration function will call and it will check whether the form is submitted or not. So if the server submitted the corresponding form, the request method will be post, because we specifying our method as post over here. So post. So if we are requesting it as a post, then form is submitting. Otherwise, this is the initial form. Okay, it is not submitted yet. So in the initial form, what we need to show, basically nothing, right? Empty thing. So name will be empty. Likewise, email, password, confirm password will be empty. Email, password, confirm password will be empty, and the associated errors with those fields also will be empty. So name error will be empty, email error will be empty, password error will be empty. Likewise, confirm password will be empty. Will be empty. Okay, so now I can call these things inside the view. Before that, I can load the view as well. So how do we load the view? By using this view function, but it is vRegister. So go to the vRegister, and inside here now, instead of having the default errors, we can have the associated errors. So in this case, this is name error, right? Likewise, this one will be email error, this one will be password error, this one will be confirm password error. If I go here and click refresh, okay, nothing is there, which means it worked correctly. Then the associated names and the corresponding emails I also need to be taken. So how can I do that? Basically, yes, basically I need to specify the value. So in this case, the value is PHP echo data name, right? Echo data name. Likewise, the value associated with the email will be email, and the password will be password. The confirm password will be confirm password. Okay, now we can implement the submitting features. Basically, uh, the form validations and the database manipulations, because we need to store this data inside our database. So how can I do that? Basically, I will validate the data first. So I can simply sanitize the data, because I can remove the unnecessary characters out of it. Filter sanitize uh, string. Filter sanitize string. So now the data is not initial data. The data is now input data, because now the data has been input by the user. So I need to trim and take the corresponding post data, right? So post name, likewise the email, password, confirm password must be taken, and the errors is initially empty, but now I will validate the data, validate each input. Okay, so initially I will validate the email, right? uh, Email name and password, things like that. Yeah, so initially let me validate the name. So I will basically check uh, if the data name field is empty, then it's the error. So that error will be recorded in the name error field as the center name. Right. Then I can validate the email. So in this case, if the email is empty, this entire email will be there. But remember, two users can't register with the same email. So we need to check our user table and check whether there is a email exist or not, already registered email exist or not. So basically we will check email is already registered or not. So how can I do that? I need to uh, create a query, right? SQL query. So go to your uh, model sorry, uh, I have to create a new model, musers.php. So I will just copy the content, users, then constructing is similar, but I have to create another function. So the function is I'm going to use is public function find user by email. So this is just a row count associated with the corresponding email that entered by the user. So if the row count is 0, which means the email has not been registered. So it's a valid email to be registered. If the row count is greater than 0, which means it is already registered. Therefore, user can't register with that email. Right. So this DB query, so what is the query? Select all from users. So we have already created these uh, tables, and I will bind the values like this. So make sure whenever you bind the values, I will put this delimiter to indicate whether this is a bind value or not. Okay, so this is a bind value. So how do we bind the value? Because we have already implemented our database class to bind the corresponding value associated with the video prepared statement. It's pretty much simple. We have to do like this. Then since this is only single record, I can execute like this db single. Then I can check the row count. This db row count. If the row count is greater than 0, I must return true, because now the user is exist. Otherwise, I will return false. Okay. Now go to your users controller. Now I can simply call that function. So how can I call that function? First, I must initialize my model over here as well. So I will name it as user model. Then this model, what is our model? M users. Then I can call this user model, and which function? Um, find user by email and pass the corresponding email as well. So if the result is true, which means, okay, give me a second. Right. If our result is true, which means we can't register. Therefore, we must invoke an error, right? The email error as what? Uh, yeah, the email is already registered. Right. So name validation is done, email validation is done. Then we can validate the password. So basically, we must check whether our password is empty or not. So data password. If the password is empty, we simply invoke an error. Please enter a password. And if it is not empty, we compare the data password is equals to, or let's say it's not equal to, confirm password. Then again it must invoke an error, passwords are not matching or something like that. Okay. So I will invoke this as a confirm password error. Right. Passwords are not matching. Okay. Right. So now the error validations are done. So if the validation is completed and no errors, then register the user. Okay. So we will check if empty data, the name error is empty or not, things like that. And and what, email error and password error and confirm password error. So email error, confirm password error and password error. Right. Yeah, if the confirm password is empty like that, and maybe I can add another thing, else if like that. So in here it is just a password error, right? Password, please enter password, please enter, please confirm the password, right? Right. Then if there is no errors exist in the validation, then we can register the data. But when you are registering the data, we must hash our password. Or we can encrypt our password. Otherwise, if our database is compromised somehow, if our database is hacked by some hacker, then all the data will be revealed, which is not quite good. Therefore, I'm going to hash the password. So there are several security countermeasures that we can take when we are hashing uh, a data that is need to be secured, something like password. Maybe you can use MD5 or SHA or something like that, uh, and some adding the salt values as well. But here I will just use some sort of a strong uh, password hashing algorithm that is inbuilt in the PHP. So it will be easy. So password, can simply call the password hash. So I need to specify what is the password. This is the password and the password default. They may be having uh, more comprehensive hashing functions as well. So it's up to you. Then I can simply register the user. So whenever I registering the user again, I am manipulating the database, right? So go to your database and you need to create a function. I will name it as register the user. So public function register the corresponding data and uh, insert into users. So what are the columns? Name, email, password and confirm password, right? Not the confirm password, I think these three. Go to your localhost, go to users. Yeah, name, email and password. Name, email and password. And what are the associated value? Exact same things except this the values need to be bind. So you can bind the values using a binding method and going to bind the name and the email and the corresponding password, and I can simply execute it. Or this db execute. So if it is execute correctly, I can simply return a true. If not, I can simply return a false. Go to your controller. Now inside your controller, now we can register the user. So if you call the database function, the function is this one, and pass the corresponding data to it, and yeah, then the user will be registered. Then I can simply say a die message, maybe user is registered, else it will die saying something went wrong. Okay, I guess that's it. And yeah, if there is an error, I must load the form again with the errors, like this. Right, let's check it out. Okay, so now imagine I am entering like this, so everything is empty. If I enter the name, it will say that the entering password is empty. If I enter email, okay, what is that? Yeah, because this password should not be empty, right? uh, so the password over here not empty, and if empty or empty, it shouldn't be empty as well, otherwise the registration won't be granted. Right, now reload it again. Okay, now enter the email. Yeah, enter the email and passwords again. I don't know why is that, but let me quickly check. Right, it is checking the user email, I guess. So I don't need to have these informations. Okay, so it's something about executing the single function, right? So data email will be passed like this, and email will be binded like this. Yeah, I think this single execution has some sort of error. Let me check again. Yeah, it says that database line, go to your database and here is the single function. um, yes, I have mistakenly entered two brackets. Sorry about that. Yeah, now reload it. There will be no errors. And the passwords are also checking. The confirm passwords also checking. The passwords are not matching. The passwords are not matching. Error will be there. Okay, now let me enter some sort of a real data. So in my case, the name is Dhanushka Sandakalu, and the email will be Dhanushka Sandakalu. I guess 11 at gmail.com. Now I will enter some password. Okay, but make sure you are entering the same password again, otherwise it will toggle an error. And click register. Okay, your is registered. Now go to your database and reload it. Here is our uh, details. So the user is successfully registered and the password is hashed. Everything is work fine. So if I go back again to the registers and if I try to register another user with the same name, okay, by giving corresponding passwords, if I click register, it will say that email is already registered, because here the user is already registered, so it won't uh, let me to register. Okay, so that's how registration features and validations are done. And in the next video, uh, we'll look at the login features as well. And yeah, thank you.